The legend continues yet. As a hood attorney, I have no idea why this game is called Dual Destinies. I keep saying this, but like, it's really Triple Destinies. Anyways, let's continue. Whew. December 20th, 3:11 p.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby, number 5. I did a little research. I looked into the special cyclops you mentioned, Mr. Nerd. You did? Awesome, I really appreciate it. A red cyclops protects a secret a person is consciously trying to hide. If the person folds under questioning, the lock breaks and the truth comes out. Right, that's like how I got the truth out of Detective Fulbright and Director Cosmos. But a black cyclops protects a secret from the deepest place in a person's heart. A secret that that person isn't even consciously aware of. So, even though they don't know it's there, no, even they don't know it's there, Athena isn't trying to keep anything away from you on purpose. For some reason, part of her heart and her memories are sealed off, even from herself. Right, so all I gotta do is break the Cyclops. According to my research, a black Cyclops is like a heavy chain wrapped directly around one's heart. If they're ripped off by force, it could cause permanent damage to a person's soul. In other words, if I'm not careful, I could kill Athena. Pearl, could you stay by Athena's side? She must be suffering on the weight of such a heavy burden. Alright, but will you be alright by yourself, Mr. Nick? Up against Edgeworth. This is gonna be light work. If you can't do that if I'm there, I'll just hold you back. No, that's not it. I just meant I can relax and concentrate if I knew we were with Athena. But the only one who can do it, Pearl. Alright, I'll do it then. Good luck, Nick. Good. Now that my mind's at ease, I can better get ready. Let's type the evidence and take what I don't need out. It's time to end this nightmare that started 7 years ago. December 20th, District Court, Courtroom number 4. Defense, prosecution, and judge. There are even people in the gallery. The roof's been clearly blown off, and the walls have collapsed. But today, this ruin is my battleground. That was kind of hard. Let's get this. Oh my gosh. Why is there a robot right there? Court is now in session. All rise, motherfuckers. 46% speed. Love it. Court, or some fast little. I have no idea what it is. Court, or some bullshit we're in right now, is now in session. Hold it right there. Not a facsimile, old man. This is a proper official trial. Take this more seriously, or you'll start hearing the bones of the hostages snap. Please try to upset Miss Blackwell. I'm begging you. Court is now in session for the very serious and very proper trial of Athena Sykes. Oh my god. I miss this little. This is no trial. It's nothing more than a ridiculous farce. What did you say? Edgeworth? Did you not hear what I just said to his honor? However, this ridiculous farce has a very important meaning for our legal system. Recall the case of the UR1 incident, in which a prosecutor was found guilty of murder. That case ushered the odious dark age of the law. I see what you're after. If we can find the real truth behind the case today, precisely, the darkness will be dispelled and the glory shall be restored to the court system. Prosecutor Edgeworth, you sound as if you know something of this truth. I do indeed. A new suspect has emerged in the UR1 case. For 7 years, Simon Blackwell has refused to speak in order to cover for someone else. Brace yourself, Phoenix. Here it comes. I'm sorry, right? But the situation is what it is, and I must do what I must. The prosecution moves to indict Athena Sykes on the count of murder in the first degree. Respect, respect. Ugh.
To question the defendant with all I have. For that is a part of my creed.
This is so hard, dude. This is so hard.
Then you better bring it.
If the two of you are ready.
This is hard.
Court is now in session for the trial of Athena Sykes.
Your Honor, the defense was born ready. The prosecution is also ready.
Okay, Capcom, okay. This much tension between us. It's like I'm picking up right where we left off. It's my duty to clear Prosecutor Black of false accusations and end this insanity. But I have no intention of losing Miss Sykes either. She's a very promising young lawyer. I know without a doubt that Athena's innocent. But I don't think Prosecutor Blackwell did it either. So, do you have any clues who was responsible for sabotage? At the very least, I know it was Simon Blackwell. I don't know enough to identify the true culprit, but it's clear what this person was. Spy. The true culprit is a spy. It's gonna be hard to convince anyone of that when I barely believe it myself. But I don't have a choice if I want to save Athena and Blackwell was a spy. Well then, Chief Prosecutor Edgeworth. No need for the Chief Prosecutor bit, Your Honor. I'm here as a simple prosecutor. Alrighty then, your opening statement please, Prosecutor Edgeworth. Although, I've been known lately to give an impressive opening statement myself. In all the trials I've ever seen, only the prosecution gives an opening statement. No, of course, you're right, I was just joking, just having a little fun. So he wasn't doing them just out of fear. Interesting. Let's start with a brief overview of the UR1 case. Year 1. The incident occurred on the Cosmos Space Center 7 years ago, on October 7th. The victim, psychologist Metis Sykes, was killed in a robotics lab on the 4th floor. The victim's mother, Simon Blackwell, a young prosecutor at the time, was found guilty of the crime. There were two deciding factors that led to his guilty verdict. 1. Blackwell was the only person in the corridor to the lab at the time of the murder. And 2, this photo, which captured the moment of the crime. Very incriminating evidence indeed. It would appear that the only conclusion is that Prosecutor Blackwell did indeed... Hold it right there. Are you kidding me? I'm not accepting any conclusion of the kind. This opening statement is over. Now, hurry up and call the witness. Excuse me, Miss Blackwell, but we must follow proper procedure for these things, you know. Or perhaps we should hear her wishes, Your Honor. She's the trial sponsor, after all. Besides, the courtroom is chilly, and sitting for too long can't be good for your back. Oh, you're very kind to show such concern for the welfare of the elderly. As skilled as ever at playing the court puppeteer, I see. The prosecution called its first witness. A witness who decided to bring forth new testimony after 7 long years. New testimony? Man, just who is this witness anyway? I'm a little upset they didn't bring back Gumshoe, I'm not gonna lie. Bobby Fulbright's the name. In justice we play this game. What are you doing here? I'm just here to speak for the hostage taker, Miss Aura Blackwell. She says she's too busy, what with confining and threatening the hostages and all. That doesn't seem to stop her from constantly chiming in through Klonko. I'm nothing more than an observer in this. Do your best. I'm watching you. Believing your brother's innocent. Miss Blackwell has been conducting her own investigation. And though her current actions are wholly lawful, I think we can at least hear her theory. I have here Miss Blackwell's notes on the investigation she conducted. And I'll be giving testimony based on these notes. Here we go! Simon is the murderer. He was trying to cover for someone. Someone else was at the scene at the time. They say Simon committed the murder. I mean, if he was really out to steal that moon rock, then why the rolling case? Because he was using it to hide someone inside. That's why. And the only person small enough to fit inside that case was Athena Sykes. So yeah, I think Blackwell is trying to protect Athena, right? And that's Miss Blackwell's theory. Who the hell could have killed her, though? I have absolutely no clue. There's no way it was... It could have been Aura. It probably was, to be honest. It probably was Aura. I mean, she's like the ultimate bad guy right now. And that's Miss Blackwell's theory. It totally goes on the face of official Rui, huh? About the case she mentions, there were other rolling cases like the one in the lab, but they're not for traveling. They're apparently for moving parts and equipment. I vaguely remember seeing these 3 cases at all different sizes. At the last trial, they thought that Prosecutor Blackwell used the case to steal the rock. And they had a perfectly good reason to think that too. You see, there's a security camera in the corridor that leads to the robotics lab. And that camera captured footage of Blackwell leaving the scene with the case. And I can see why the footage helped it bring this trial to a quick end. It's very convincing, that's for sure. That case, by the way, was later discovered on the outside on the Space Center grounds. Speaking of after the incident, where was the defendant Athena Sykes found? She was found on the 5th floor of the Space Center in the Sykes family residence. Prosecutor Blackwell most likely brought her there after the incident. In addition, it's unknown where Miss Sykes was at the estimated time of death. Miss Sykes was too confused by the shock of her mother's death to give proper testimony. And there was no witness or evidence to tell us where she might have gone. So what you're saying is, Miss Sykes didn't have an alibi. That is what the evidence is saying, yes. I understand the reasoning behind that theory, but I'm far from convinced. The victim is the accused's mother. Are you actually claiming an 11-year-old girl? Of course of course the girl had a very strong motive. Dr. Sykes was a psychologist who wrote many papers on speech and emotions. You're aware of Athena's special ability, aren't you, Your Honor? Are you referring to that therapy thing? Yes, she's done it quite a few times in court. The ability to read emotions from speech, and the subject of her mother's research. Well, as long as it benefits society, I don't see any particular problem researching it. I don't like where this is heading. Not one bit. Dr. Sykes was so intent on her research. They changed her animations a little bit. I'm a little disappointed. They changed his animations a little bit, but that's cool. Prosecutor Edgeworth, are you seriously suggesting? I've done my best to delegate, but even you can't deny to be true, Mr. Wright. No longer able to withstand the anguish of the experiments, Miss Sykes felt her only choice was to kill her own mother. Oh my god. Bro, there's like 10 people in here. Relax, relax. For a tragic story. I hardly want to be with myself, but we must proceed. Mr. Wright, if you could, take the Fulbright. Please refer to the notes. Okay. Round 1. So, Prosecutor Blackwell willingly accepted a death sentence to protect someone else. Yes, that's precisely what Miss Blackwell appears to believe. And that's what I believe as well. Prosecutor Blackwell is no murderer, Mr. Wright. But Athena Sykes isn't either. Edgeworth. So it appears neither of us can afford to go easy on the other. Fine. I expected no less. Oh, I remember this tense atmosphere. It's so invigorating. Bro, relax on that. I'm only reading notes here, but yeah. I feel extra invigorated too. Hold it! But that's just speculation. No, Miss Blackwell has proper grounds for her claims.
Objection!
Bullshit, she does.
Objection!
You're the one who screamed, "Hold it!" and cut me off. Fine, so maybe I jumped the gun by a teeny weeny bit. Ah, ah, ah. Now I know what they mean when they say close enough to argue. Moving on.
Hold it!
This rolling case, I suppose you mean this one. No, the one that existed in the photo with Prosecutor Blackwell in it. But was absent when the crime photos were taken. Yes, that's the one. And Miss Blackwell has drawn a conclusion from these two photos. She has? And what is that conclusion? You really want the notes? Oh, right, of course, reading them now. So why the rolling case?
Hold it!
And how do you propose he hit a person inside one of those cases? Have you forgotten that we saw just such a thing the only other at your own daughter's magic show? She fit a grown person into a small box. Oh, yeah. Waiter in the memory of a good day. A magic show? I wish you would have thought to invite me. Actually, I would like to go too. My apologies. I'll invite you both next time, I guess. Anyways, wait a minute. What were we talking about again?
Hold it!
But that's nothing more than conjecture, and it's hardly the only possibility. In that case, what do you think Prosecutor Blackwell had in that case? I think it was the moon rock.
Objection!
There were 3 cases at the scene. Prosecutor Blackwell had used the largest one. The moon rock was egg-shaped and only about 8 inches wide. And what the hell is wrong with me? It wouldn't have made any sense to use the largest case there just to move the moon rock.
Objection!
Be that as it may, it doesn't prove Miss Sykes is inside. Let me ask you this. Can you come up with a better theory of what was inside the case? Well, right, can you? Oh shit. Give a guy some time to think. Let's see. Should I try and bluff? Absolutely. I know exactly what Prosecutor Blackwell carried from the scene. I just gotta find something else that was missing, right? No sweat. Oh, I'd be very interested in hearing your theory. If it's true, that is. This is a crime scene photo taken after Prosecutor Blackwell left, correct? All we gotta do is compare this with this photo of Prosecutor Blackwell to see who it's missing. If he took something with him, then it should be in one of those photos. Lady Luck, don't fail me now. Alright, let's see your theory. What did Prosecutor Blackwell take when seeing the murder? Whatever this thing is?
Take that!
Please notice that there is a robot part on top of the cart in this photo. However, in this photo taken after the crime, the robot part is gone. In other words, this part is something that was taken from the scene of the crime. You do appear to be right. I don't see it in the second picture. But it's just a piece of junk. How important could it be? Is it really just an extended robot part? Speaking of which, what are you looking at? I'm gonna start charging for each glare per eyeball. Stingy. I'm to the age of free previews. Anyway, Your Honor, about this robot part, doesn't look like it'd be an arm from the robot there. Well, now that you mention it, it does, doesn't it? But the case is still too big to be practical, just for the moon rock and a robot arm. But was it really just a one arm that was in there? If it wasn't Athena in the case, maybe. I believe there was another robot at the scene that looks just like the one here. Your Honor, is the defense's assertion that it was this other robot that was in the case. What? We can't be certain that part belonged to a robot. Yes, it looks like the arm of this one before us, but it could be something else entirely. Besides, it's wrapped entirely in bandaging, making it difficult to verify what it is.
Objection!
No. I know for a fact that it is a robot arm. I can even tell which robot it belongs to just by looking at it. With this information, we can investigate whether it was there at the time or not. Mr. Wright, I thought you were more of the technologically illiterate type. When did you become such an expert? I feel somehow abandoned. Not to worry, Your Honor. I still know next to nothing about machines. But I know this piece of evidence proves which robot the arm belonged to. That's a bold assumption you do. Because I absolutely don't. Oh wait, no. This one. Take this. The robot in this picture is named Ponko. But take a look at Ponko's arm. It was Miss Sykes who measured it up like that. She must have thought that the machines heal the same way people do. What an adorable naive mistake. It reminds me of my own grandchild. The robot arm in that crime scene had the same bandaging wrapped around it. In other words, this robot arm could belong to none other than Ponko. Okay. Alright, everyone chill out. Prosecutor Edgeworth, what do you have to say to this? I can see that the robot is about the same size as a child, but it cannot grab its knees and curl itself into a ball. Even if it was large as other cases, the robot couldn't possibly fit in there. The case does come about mid-thigh on Prosecutor Blackwell. I do see your point. The robot is much taller than that. And they got me there. So then the Prosecutor Blackwell make Ponko fit into the case by dismantling her. Yeah, there's a dismantle machine. Of course Ponko would fit. All Prosecutor Blackwell had to do was dismantle her. Once taken apart, the robot could have easily fit inside that rolling case. It appears to be a robot assembling device. It's only anything in flash, but it's a dismantle button. Sounds pretty neat. Can you put your mission, Nick? It sounds rather violent, but Mr. Wright does a point there. Bro. Except that there was a body on the table. The robots are dismantled and disassembled. Assembled. There would have been no room to take the robot apart. Bed. But what if it wasn't done on the table? What if the katana was used instead? You mean the sword? Yes, I do, Your Honor. Miss Blackwell, I'd like your opinion as a woman of science. Isn't it true that the katana could have been used dude. Isn't it true that the katana could have been used to take the robot apart? I suppose so. Their joints aren't made of a very tough material. A blade could slice through them. Thank you for your expert opinion, Miss Blackwell. Thanks to you, we now know that the existence of the severed arm in this photo proves that Ponko was taken apart. In addition, since the rest of Ponko was not found at the scene, we can conclude that the true meaning of this photo is very different from the original interpretation. You can't mean... That's exactly what I mean. This photo does not capture the moment of the murder. It is instead a picture of the moment after the robot was sliced open. Or apart, rather. The blood you see where the arm was cut off was transferred there by the bloody katana. Most likely, the rest of Ponko was scattered on Prosecutor Blackwell's feet. Not hearing this. Therefore, what was transported inside that case was not the defendant, but a robot. Miss Sykes was never at the scene at the time of the murder. My head, my body. Where am I? God. Here we go. Okay, just kidding. Alright, everyone chill out. It's true that Ponko was found in pieces after the murder, and I'll admit that I repaired her myself afterwards. Okay. Hell yes, I thought I'd make some progress. Hopefully I've gotten at least one step closer to proving both Athena and Prosecutor Blackwell innocent.
Objection.
Now you wish. Well played, Mr. Wright. Never mind, they didn't change his animations. You've made your point abundantly clear. I can see that it wasn't the defendant inside the rolling case, but the robot. Alright. What's going on here? Never good when he plays plays things straight. Does the prosecution withdraw its claim that the defendant was carried from the scene? No, Your Honor. My claim hasn't changed.
Objection!
The fuck do you mean your claim hasn't changed?
Objection!
The notion that the case was used to carry Athena Sykes was Miss Blackwell's theory. I had been different opinion from the outset. Now I finally have the opportunity to voice my theory. Thanks to the defense. Edgeworth. He's almost up ahead of me this whole time. Well, in that case, how do you propose the defendant left the crime scene? Simple. The footage only shows Prosecutor Blackwell from behind. What's more, he's holding his arm in front of his body, as if he were holding something. Or someone. That's hardly evidence. I have proof. The surcoat Prosecutor Blackwell was wearing. The victim's blood was found on the front of it, and the stain had a slightly distinctive shape. A blood stain? With a distinctive shape. Please continue, Prosecutor Edgeworth. 7 years ago, the defendant was known to constantly wear a certain item, of which there is only one in the world. A special pair of headphones made just for her. Yes, I remember. Analysis shows the bloodstain to be in the exact same shape as these headphones. In other words, this was no mere blood splatter. The blood went from the victim's body to the headphones, and then was imprinted onto Prosecutor Blackwell's coat like a stamp. A most gruesome stamp indeed. Blackwell carried Miss Sykes, who had been hit by splatter, away from the crime scene. This proves that Athena Sykes was, without a doubt, present at the crime scene. And that concludes the prosecution's argument. Everybody relax, everybody relax, everybody relax, everybody relax. If the defendant was indeed at the scene, it deems suspicion against her.
Objection!
But we've also known that the robot was there at the scene as well.
Objection!
I hope you're not making the ridiculous claim that a simple robot was the murderer. I don't really think that, no, but you can't see the possibility isn't there. Detective Fulbright, was the robot questioned at the time? No, I don't see any record of it. I believe it was considered unrelated to the case. But as it turned out, the robot was actually integrally related. Your Honor, the defense would like to call Pronko to the stand. A robot witness. It's not. Nothing will top the freaking parrot witness. Don't act like it's unorthodox. Everybody relax. Everybody chill out. Prosecutor Edgeworth, what do you think about this? Mr. Wright has called all manner of witnesses to the stand over the years. So why not a robot? Nothing surprises anyone more with him. Alright then, I will allow the witness. Bailiff, bring his ass over here. I can't believe that robot has titties. Witness, please state your name and occupation. My name is not Witness. My name is Ponko. Yes, I realize that. But when you are at the witness stand, you are the witness. No, I'm not. I'm Ponko. Say it with me. Ponko. What an utterly inflexible little robot. You're the last person to be calling anybody inflexible. Get it? Because Edgeworth has a history of getting in trouble with getting witnesses to say his names. Haha, you remind me of my grandchild who just learned his own name. Oh, how precious. Alright, Ponko. I'm going to ask you some questions. Questions? You have questions. Hooray! What are your questions? I want to know if you were there at the scene of the murder of Meta Sykes. It was 7 years ago on the 7th of October around 2 p.m. in the robotics lab. Certainly. Just one moment. Searching data. Beep boop beep boop beep. Search complete. Yes, I was there in the robotics lab. You know what, you'd think a robot wouldn't have any contradictions, right? Because it's a robot. It would seem this robot's testimony isn't necessary to this case after all. Hell yeah. I just knew Ponko must have seen something important. A murder committed right before this poor little girl's eyes. It's inexcusable. The judge seems related without Ponko as another grandchild. So, little Ponko, do you think you can give us your testimony today? What Ponko saw, right? Okay, what I saw, whatever. I went to the robotics lab at about 2 p.m. for my recharge. Just as I was to charge up, Athena came in and hugged Mommy Metis. And then Mommy Metis fell down. After that, I was charging, so I don't know anything. As I charged up, I was cleaning the room, and Mr. Simon came in. Then an error occurred. There's no data after that point. Oh boy. Well, it sounded like the defendant was, without question, at the scene. However, it doesn't appear that the witness saw the actual moment of the murder. I disagree. This testimony shows that the defendant did indeed commit the crime. What? At the end of the day, we mustn't forget that witness is still a machine. Being a robot, its understanding capacity to express itself is limited. So what are you suggesting? The witness's statements need to be interpreted. For example, the term is hugged, and then later fell down. Adults don't usually fall down as being hugged by a child. They don't, but yes, what this witness statement starts telling us is that the defendant clapped her mother. What? Well, pause on that though. Before Miss Sykes hugged Dr. Sykes, did the two of them converse? Yes, they did. They spoke to each other very loudly, but I don't know what they said. Athena was usually so quiet, so I was surprised. They spoke very loudly. We can interpret this to mean they argued. I see. Murder after a heated argument. And then the victim fell down? I agree that does sound like a reasonable interpretation. However, Pongo doesn't seem to remember anything that happened after that. When I am recharging, I go into sleep mode. But I remember everything before that. I have a very good memory. You may as well admit defeat now, right? A cross-examination will be pointless. Don't be ridiculous. A cross-examination is never pointless. Until now. Think about it. Robots don't lie. This robot is both an important witness and valuable evidence at the same time. Nevertheless, I will have my cross-examination. I see you haven't changed. You never were one to worry about wasting time. Alright then. Even if maybe it was tiny, you may proceed. Round 2. I guess it was round 1.
Hold it!
Irregular recharge. What is that exactly? I have to refill my battery power, or else it'll stop working. I go to the lab to do that. So that recharge occurred around 2 p.m. on the time of the murder. That's right. I go every day at 2 p.m. Okay. But wait. Was the murder even at 2 p.m.? Let me check. They haven't done any shit like this, so between 1 and 3 p.m. is October 7th. Okay.
Hold it!
Hugged her, eh? The was looked at me and stabbed her with a weapon. He said two of them were talking when Miss Sykes hugged her mother, right? Yes, they were talking very loudly, but I couldn't tell what they were saying. I couldn't tell. So even though they were speaking so loudly, I'm only allowed to listen to voices that are directed at me. If you listen to every voice, it would be better than a mobile head. It would be a little better than a mobile eavesdropper. Well, it does explain why some of Pongo's stamps make it so vague. It's a shame that our little friend wasn't listening in, however. We could have learned what they were talking about just before Dr. Sykes was killed.
Hold it!
I don't want to delve too deeply here, but could you tell us how the victim appeared and acted at the moment? Molly Menace was very surprised when she was hugged. I heard her heart pound. Her heart? Mr. Wright, have you forgotten about this document we found in the robotics lab? These robots have a heartbeat detection system. Now that you mentioned it, I do remember reading something like that. They detect the presence of people by the sound of their heartbeats. But, wait a minute. That means if Dr. Sykes really did die at that moment, Paco, how was Dr. Sykes after she fell down? Could you still hear the sound of her heartbeat? Let's see. The moment she fell, her heart was pounding. After that, I don't know. I started recharging just then. Fallout unlucky timing. If you had heard anything after that, it could have possibly proved that the hug wasn't actually the moment of the murder. I'm very sorry. I'm afraid I don't know. I'm very sorry. The robot is designed to go to sleep mode on him, so it can't help. It can't be helped. But it does appear to be. It does appear. It does appear it detected. Wait. It does appear detected an increased heart rate at the moment of stabbing. Yeah. After my medicine's heart started pounding in surprise, she fell by the window. It was a round window on the workbench, side of the room. The workbench, huh? Really? But doesn't add up. Wasn't she killed in a chair? Anything critical? Absolutely. Yo, I'm woke today, bro. I haven't been this woke for the entire game. That's a good little girl. I'll move fast forward near the window. Where's that photo at? Yeah.
Objection!
Ponko, your statement may have justified a breakthrough. I was helpful? Hooray! I'm so happy. Just to be sure, let's go over it again, alright? The victim fell near the window on the workbench side of the room. However, her body was discovered on the operating table. But the operating table and the workbench are two different locations. Precisely, Your Honor. You've just learned a new, crucial fact. What could explain the two very different locations of the body? I'll tell you what. The victim moved. An 11-year-old girl couldn't have moved the heavy body of an adult, so the only explanation is that the victim walked to the operating table herself. In other words, what Paco observed near the workbench couldn't possibly have been the moment of the murder. Let's go, okay, young Phoenix. Whew, I'm very relieved to hear that. Glad to know that the murder wasn't committed in front of this little Ponko here. Damn straight. As we just heard in this testimony, Miss Sykes hugged her mother, nothing more.
Objection!
Right. It's been 8 years, but you're still just as stupid. Stupid? I don't recall this dude saying some dumb shit. Hey, blue's my favorite color. What can I say? If the defendant couldn't move the body herself, she could have had it moved for her. But Sykes and Dr. Sykes were the only ones there. I agree. Since this robot is equipped with a heartbeat detection system, it would have been aware of another person's presence if someone else had been there. We can therefore conclude that the defendant and the victim were the only ones present. Then, who do you suggest move the body? Don't you know it's in the nature of a robot to help people do things? Miss Ponko. Wait, Miss Panko. Allow me to ask you a question. My name is Ponko. Say it with me. Ponko. I believe you said you were cleaning after Dr. Sykes fell down. Did you happen to move something large onto the operating table? Yes I did. Athena asked me to. Athena asked you to? And what did you move, Ponko? I don't know. Unless something has an ID tag, I can't tell what it is. ID tag, you say? Yes, a tag with a barcode on it. We robots scan them to tell us what the thing is. That paper in the lab didn't mention about something like that. Recognize people by scanning their spacesuit or uniform ID tag, it said. So it would appear that Miss Ponko, no, it's Panko, here can't identify what it moved. My name is Ponko. But we humans have the power to imagine what it was, do we not? We do? Well, I do at the very least. Miss Panko, on the defendant's command, you moved the body onto the operating table. Gah! Oh shit, I moved the body onto the operating table. Oh my goodness, wow, I can't... Ponko, did you really move Dr. Sykes' body? This is really important. Isn't there any way you could tell? I don't know. Without an ID tag, I can't tell. Give it up, right? If the victim's heart was stopped, the robot detection system would be useless. Furthermore, Dr. Sykes usually wore her white coat while she was working. She kept a jacket with her ID tag on it, draped over a chair in the robotics lab, and only wore it for special occasions. In other words, the victim wasn't wearing her ID tag at the time. From the robot's point of view, her body was simply a neutral object.
Objection!
But Ponko was equipped with a facial recognition system. That's what I was thinking too. If she really did move the victim, she would have recognized the body as Dr. Sykes. But she didn't. So that means
Objection!
a face can easily be covered with a piece of cloth, a mask, or anything for that matter. With her facial features hidden, the robot would have been able to tell if it was Dr. Sykes. Yeah, he's right. To summarize, Miss Sykes stabbed her mother near the workbench. Then, using the robot, she moved the body to the table, where she moved the sword that was stained in blood. Fuck. Alright, everybody chill out, everybody chill out. But if that's the case, then I have a question. Why did the defendant move the body to the operating table in the first place? You want a reason? Very well. What? You can't possibly have an explanation. Your emotions blind you to the truth. You can learn a lot from our robot friends. Calm and rational thought will open your eyes to the truth in front of you, Mr. Wright. Now then, do you remember the operating table, one special feature? I believe I read that robots can be assembled and disassembled there, right? That's right. Enter the defendant, who was versatile at the time. The table is like a magic box that can make robots appear or disappear in seconds. She did say that. You can't possibly be suggesting. This young, sheltered girl had a difficult time distinguishing robots from people. Look upon his arm, it was like she must have had a machine tool. It was something to do. It wasn't no any mistake. No way. I refuse to believe it. Miss Sykes made a childish, naive, and cruel mistake. She thought that if a robot could be dismounted and vanish without a trace. Prosecutor Edgeworth, if you're about to claim what I think you are, I demand that you word it as delicately as you can. With all due respect, Your Honor, all I can do is present the truth as it stands. The reason the defendant moved the victim's body to the operating table.
Hold it!
No, don't say another word. Just stop. Was to dismantle the evidence so that she could get away with her crime. That can't be true. Can I get a hold it? Objection? Anything? Fuck. Everybody chill out, everyone relax, everyone relax. Everybody chill out. Edgeworth. She was just a kid. How can you say such a horrible thing? Horrible. Like I said, you were just as green as ever. I came here today as a prosecutor to seek only the truth, no more, no less. My theory is simply the result of a rational consideration of every possibility.
Objection!
But dismantling isn't the table's only function. It can make repairs as well. It's conceived by Mr. Sykes that Miss Sykes moved her mother to the table in order to fix her. I suppose there could be another way of interpreting it. But dismantle or repair, it doesn't matter either way. What do you mean? After murdering her mother, Miss Sykes may have come to her senses. Perhaps she did want to make it appear as if it had never happened. And that's why she tried to repair her mother. Yes, that's one possible explanation. But we mustn't forget the facts of this case. The victim was observed to fall down after being hugged by the defendant, and the body was moved per the defendant's command. These two facts that indicate the defendant's guilt, remain unchanged. This just can't be true. Right, do you have any evidence to refute the prosecution's claim? Evidence? Right, let's see. I can't think of any. I'm afraid I don't have any evidence. Since becoming chief prosecutor, I've learned that truth isn't always pretty. Now, accept the truth, Mr. Wright. Your subordinate murdered her own mother. Your Honor, the prosecution demands a verdict. The hostages have suffered enough. What a terrible and tragic conclusion. If the defense has no counter-argument, I see no need to further prolong the trial. Andrew's argument seems solid enough, but there's no way Athena could have ever done anything like that. What do I do? There's gotta be something. But I can't think of a single thing. Oh. Prosecutor Blackwell. This is what the farce we're conducting here. I could die from laughter. Prosecutor Blackwell, what are you talking about? What I'm talking about is that your argument is based on an entirely false premise. Go on, we're listening. Could this be the miracle I need? But what is Prosecutor Blackwell trying to pull here? 7 years. For 7 long years. This case has been on my mind. Not for an instant did I not think of it. I'm the one who killed my mentor, and don't think you can alter that fact now. Your baldness, I will take to the stand, and I won't take no for an answer. Of course, Prosecutor Blackwell. Please go ahead. Okay then. 7 years ago. It's always 7 years. Always 7. I went to the Cosmos Space Center with the intention to clean out the slice. But when I got to the robotics lab, I found Athena there instead. I would not be swayed from my purpose, so I waited for Dr. Sykes to return. And then, I committed the act. Ah, how cathartic it was. But little Ponko here wants the victim falling. In other words...
Objection!
I don't need any of your other words, old man. I can guess what happened. Which would be... She fell. Means she fell. Merely that. A mother and child are fooling around. Perhaps she tripped. Not that it matters. When I entered the lab, there was no trace of Dr. Sykes to be seen. There was no dead body either, of course. Meaning she must have left the room. So the murder occurred after the time period Ponko described in her testimony. You should hardly take stock in the words of a lined-up toy.
Objection!
Then how do you explain the fact that the defendant had the robot move something? Athena was always tinkering with robots on the operating table to amuse herself, and she always had Ponko move her heavy ones for her. That day was no different. Ponko moved a heavy robot for Athena. Guess it makes sense enough. This is awful. What he's saying seems to make sense, and yet...
Objection!
Prosecutor Blackwell, are you trying, even now, to turn away from the truth? Don't you realize we could bring the dark age of the law to a close today?
Objection!
You expect too much from me. I'm just a murderer beyond redemption. Why don't you just let me go, so I can settle it down in hell? Yuck. Prosecutor Blackwell's execution is tomorrow. If the truth doesn't come out now, it's all over. Are you saying that that little girl and the robot had nothing to do with the murder? That's right. So let's hear your verdict. If we don't hurry, I might miss the ferry across the stakes. This dude... Don't you dare, Judge. Don't forget I have hostages over here. And Simon, how long are you going to cover for her? Miss Blackwell. Forgive me, Aura. I never wanted you to do anything like this for me. But you agreed to this trial. If you have a counter-argument, then present your evidence. That's the rule of a courtroom. Isn't that right, Chief Prosecutor? Blackwell, you selfish piece of shit. Well, to be frank, I don't really like this, but it's my duty to make a decision. If no one has a counter-argument, then I will announce my verdict. Is this really happening? Is it really going to end just like it did 7 years ago? I want to do it so bad. Even now, I want to fly out there and go save him. No, I can't tell her. But how can I lie to her? If I can't prove Prosecutor Blackwell's innocence in this trial, I don't think she'll ever forgive me. I can't let this happen. But I just don't have the evidence to counter Prosecutor Blackwell's testimony. What will you do, Phoenix? What will you do? Hold it. Objection. Thank you. Athena, what are you? Are you feeling okay? I can hear it. I can hear the voice of his heart. He's hiding something. If he really is, I'm sure he's against help here. Powers might just be the thing to get us through this.
Objection!
Young Sykes. No need for you to chime in here. Just accept that you're innocent.
Objection!
These past 7 years, they've been just as hard on me, you know. What are you talking about? Do you remember that horrible trial? Please, you have to listen to me. He didn't kill her. His heart is screaming that he didn't kill her. Even now, every time I stand in the courtroom, it comes back to haunt me. Not being heard, no matter how hard you try, feeling so helpless. Caught in people's stares, so scared that it feels like your chest is in a vice. I'm terrified of courtrooms. I want to run out of that door even now. And yet, you found a way to keep your fears at bay and become a lawyer. Thanks. That's because one day, I came to realize that I had to fight. I couldn't give up. I studied hard, I studied hard. I wanted to become the strongest lawyer I could be. This day has finally come. The day I've been looking forward to with all my heart. This is why I became a lawyer. This is why I studied psychology. It was all to save you from this false conviction. But, Miss Sykes, do you realize what it would mean? You are the accused after all. If you prove Prosecutor Blackwell innocent, then the only thing that matters is the truth. It's my duty to find out what the truth is. Simon, please give me this chance. The chance to shake off this fear that's been with me for 7 years, and to face the truth. Things being so brave, confronting your past like this. This might really be the last time to save them both. Prosecutor Blackwell, please testify one more time about the incident 7 years ago. Fine. But your efforts will surely be in vain. For I'm not a man who can be cut down easily. Here we go, Simon. Let me hear the voice of your heart. Beep boop, beep boop. Enter the Matrix. Okay, you're gonna come to Sykes. You're happy, okay. So wait for Sykes to return. I need to act how Sykes runs. Whoops. The bushes are very guarded, and his fences are way up. Right. So you should have been happy about that, right? This feeling of happiness. Even though the person you're looking for wasn't there, you felt happy. Why is that? Simple. When I was looking for Athena, and hadn't found her yet, I grew worried. So when I saw her in the robotics lab, I was happily relieved. Merely that. Okay, just 60% down. Just now, you said that you went to Space Center to kill Dr. Sykes. But the first thing you did was look for her daughter instead? I had no intention of harming Athena, so I wanted to confirm that she was safe first. It was just a part of my plan. Nothing contradictory about that. Ugh. Second to find inconsistency, he cuts it down. He knows the principles of animal psychology. There's less noise now, but I don't see any instabilities we can latch onto. Alright then. Beep, 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 beep. I was relieved. But I would not be sweetly explained. We're going to return. But you wanted to do that, right? So you shouldn't have been sad about it. Get off me, bro. Not even you can falsify your emotions, young Black Lil. What? When you said that you killed Dr. Sykes in your testimony, you felt sadness. Why would someone who had laid in wait to kill her be sad at her death? Such an obvious attack. Yes, I felt sadness, but it wasn't for her. I felt sorrow for Athena and her circumstances. He can't be talking about that, can he? My objective was to save Athena from the obsessive scientist who treated her own daughter like a research subject, or what? I went to the psychology lab first. That's where I would usually find Athena playing. But that day was different. I heard someone crying in the robotics lab next door. With Athena being subjected to yet another experiment, I thought as I went to see. Conveniently, Athena had cried herself to sleep, so all I had to do was wait and kill. So that's why he was relieved when she saw Athena. But is the story really true? I'm not sure how much to believe. Right? How you doing, Athena? Still hanging in there? I'm not trying to lip off. Now, take a look at this. The noise level actually increased. What kind of bullshit? Went up? Never seen him do that before. Black was lying somewhere in his testimony. As a matter of fact, he's piling lie on top of lie in an attempt to make claims that are more believable. He's trying even harder to express his true feelings. That's what's causing the noise. How the hell should I approach this? Gotta use an evidence-based approach. Quite a contradiction. Otherwise, she would associate emotions. Oh my god. No, no, no. I don't think so. Not while I'm here. Not while I'm in this bitch. You gonna let me choose? Fuck it, we'll keep going emotions. Alright. Because you don't lose health from the emotions. There's a lot of surprise right here. Let's go. Yeah, okay, that's what it was. I don't know why I didn't think of that. How odd. Why would you register surprise at opening a door to the lab? Alright, fine. I'll explain if I must. What surprised me was Ponko. A toy figure attacked me. Dr. Sykes knew full well my plan to rescue Athena, but she couldn't stand guard over her daughter 24 hours a day. So, Sykes had Ponko do it. That's right. She ordered Ponko to forcibly remove me on sight. So I slashed Ponko up with the katana that was there in the lab. That wretched old puppet wasn't worthy of that fine blade. That's alright. It's happening again. There's even more noise now. Bro. It's at 100% now. What the hell's going on here? Whenever we find an opening, he covers up with lies. Am I doing something wrong? I guess I need to go for testimony. Wow. I'm actually surprised that was it. 1 second. Okay, so after I got this contradiction, I kind of went to bed. And, so I just woke up and I took a drink. I continued drinking my soda. So I'm probably going to be in immense pain in a few minutes. But, yeah, I have no idea what the contradiction was. Can I see in the log? No. Okay. Oh, he cut it into pieces, that's right. And then, I guess, I don't know, actually. Oh, if he cut it into pieces, there shouldn't be any blood on the sword, right? I think that's what it is. Compounding lies with more lies is never the answer, Prosecutor Blackwell. Take a look at this photo. That's a photo of the supposed moment of murder, is it not? How many more times must I see that which damn me for my sin? The ironic thing is, I think this picture is actually going to be your savior now. See the blood stain at the end of Paco's arm where it was severed with a katana? I hope you aren't claiming it's the Robert's blood, is that right? No. No, of course not. The blood was most likely transferred there from the bloody katana. The katana already had blood on it, so then it must have been the victim's blood. Precisely. But if that's the case, we found a glaring contradiction. Yeah. You said in your testimony that you cut up the Ponko, and then you killed Dr. Sykes. But that shit does not add up, because the victim's blood is already on Ponko's arm in this picture. What? But that couldn't be. Exactly. In order for the blood to have transferred from the sword to Ponko's arm, the victim must have been stabbed first before the robot was slashed. In other words, Prosecutor Blackwell, your entire testimony is nothing but complete bullshit. Yeah. Tell the court the truth, Prosecutor Blackwell, right now. You have no idea what you're doing. His voice. There's so much discord. And not just one or two, but a bunch of rampaging emotions here. It's hard to describe. It's like a violent whirlpool or something. Phoenix, right? You will pay for this. Never have been forced to reveal so much. With the rest, I'll take to my grave. No. Prosecutor Blackwell, you are on the witness stand. You are obligated to tell the truth. Isn't that the rule of the courtroom? All these complex emotions, they seem to be flowing from one source. I think whatever he really saw that day is what's causing these feelings. Okay. I'm gonna guess it's Athena. When you opened the door and saw Athena, you became overwhelmed by your emotions. Isn't that right, prosecutor? You should know better. And though it's pathetic, I admit I'm terrified to speak of it. Prosecutor Blackwell, Miss Sykes is innocent. I will always believe that with all my heart. Now, can't you find it within yourself to believe in me too? Athena is innocent, huh? Can you honestly say you believe that to be true, young Wright? I give you my word. Now tell me what you really saw me open that door. Fuck you, Phoenix, right? It was a tragedy, one I'll never forget. When I arrived at the lab, Dr. Sykes was already dead. She was lying on the operating table, while the bloody katana lay on the floor. Standing between the two, covered in blood, was Athena. She smiled with a far-off look in her eyes as she sweetly said, okay, it's a little creepy. Something's wrong with Mom, so I'm taking her apart to fix her. No. Prosecutor Blackwell finally tells the truth. And this is what it is? It's beyond devastating. I tried to take my mother apart. I You got it, Athena. You got it, Athena. You know my voice is too deep to be screaming like that. So it was me. I'm the only one who killed my mother. Athena! As I said, right? The truth isn't always pretty. Murder, disassembly on an operating table, a scientist using her daughter as a guinea pig. Sadly, it appears that my theory was correct after all.
Objection!
It's true that Athena didn't like her mother's research, but you dare cast aspersions on my mentor by claiming Athena was used in such a manner? Dr. Sykes could be awkward with people, but she loved her daughter with all her heart. She loved me? Your mother hated to see you suffer because you could hear the voices of people's hearts. She wanted to set you free of your pain, so she worked tirelessly on her research. Do you remember those headphones you hated so much? Yes, my head hurt every time I wore them. No, Athena. It's just the opposite. They emitted sound waves to nullify emotional input from the voices of people around you. Your powers are stronger than it is now, and those headphones were what enabled you to carry on with everyday life. No, that can't be true. Then why? Why would I have done something like that? Just somebody who loved me so much. Her love for you was real. That I can guarantee. That's why I knew that what happened had to be some kind of mistake. I couldn't let you be punished for it. So you took the blame yourself. You and your mentor were more alike than you know. Ponka was a witness, so I put it in the case, held Athena close, and vacated the lab. I threw Ponka away in the boarding lounge trash chute, and I hid the case on the space underground. It seems that we now have all the facts of this case.
Hold it!
No, not yet. It can't end like this.
Objection!
Do not disgrace yourself, Mr. Wright. The truth has been revealed. Or are you the type of man to turn your back on things that disagree with you? I'm not, but this... I can't give up now. I have to say something. Anything. Even if it's bullshit. I've always managed to pull through that way in the past. I've got to make it work. The defense is, prepared to present evidence. Mr. Wright. Yeah, what's up, Athena? It's okay. You can stop now. I don't want you or anyone else to suffer any longer for my sake. Athena, what are you saying? I killed my mother. That's the truth. It's just like Prosecutor Edgeworth said. We have to face it, no matter how much it hurts. I admit my guilt. Can I get a hold it? Objection? Someone come through? But could I please be granted just one chance to tell everyone what I recall? It appears Miss Sykes is much braver than you, Mr. Wright. What say you, Your Honor? In light of her courage, will the court give Miss Sykes this opportunity to confess? Alrighty then. Then if you would, please take a stand. Thank you for letting me do this, Prosecutor Edgeworth. And thank you, Mr. Wright and Prosecutor Blackwill, for letting the truth be known. Now we can finally move forward, and everyone's suffering can come to an end. Prosecutor Blackwill will be cleared, and the Dark Ages law can come to an end. Yes, admit your guilt, and bring everything to its conclusion. I killed my mother. My memory's still a little hazy, but there's no question I remember it. I remember the weight of the weapon in my hands, and the feeling of it stabbing in deep. And I remember the warmth of her blood as it flowed down the handle onto my fingers. Your Honor, please find me guilty. I dare say, these are all memories that no one but the murderer would have. I see. Thank you for your confession. I believe this trial has gone on long enough. But before we conclude, does anyone have a counter-argument? You know it, you know. Come on, come on. Come on. Objection! Thank you. Objection! I do. Your boy. God damn it, right. But Mr. Wright, why? I killed her. I remember it now. Any counter argument was pointless. Objection! No, no, no. Don't tell me you've forgotten one of the basic tenets of lawyering. Always believe in the client to the very end. Cena, you are not a murderer. Objection! I said that you'd never change, but could you have actually regressed in these 8 years? I won't stand for your childish emotionalism getting in the way of the truth. Emotionalism? Lecture me on the matters of the heart, Edgeworth. Because I can see straight into a person's soul. Oh my gosh. The Cyclops you mentioned. Athena isn't trying to keep anything from me on purpose. For some reason, part of her heart and memories are sealed off, even from herself. Still a chance. Somewhere given Athena's heart. Might be looking for a grain of sand so it can cause us to still. Oh my god, you want to actually break these Cyclops? I hope everyone's thinking you're not just bluffing, right? Is there or is there not a problem with my concession? Memory's still a little hazy, but there's no questioning. I remember it. I know the weight of my weapon, the weight of the weapon in my hands, and the feeling of stabbing it in deep. I remember the warmth of the blood as it flowed down the family onto my fingers. Something wrong with the memory of the event. I can just tell. If there is a problem with her confession, please prove it now. Look at the sword. It doesn't go past. It doesn't go to the hilt. So how could you feel it on your fingers, bitch? Isn't that the katana the defendant used to kill the victim, Mr. Wright? I respectfully and vehemently disagree, Your Honor. But I remember it. I remember holding the weapon and getting blood on my fingers. No, no, no. That's exactly my point. If blood really did get on your fingers while you were holding it, There should be blood on the handle. But please focus on the handle of the sword. There's not a trace of blood on it. And therefore, this is clearly a contradiction of the facts. You're right. Oh my. Ah, get off me. The defendant must have simply confused a portion of her memories. She mentioned it was hated to begin with, and we can't mull over every minor detail.
Objection!
But she also said there's no question I remember it, a fact we can't ignore. In that case, why don't you explain what this contradiction with her memories mean? Okay, just give me a second. I want to say that Athena didn't stab anyone, but she said herself that she remembers the feeling of committing the act. Think, Phoenix, think. What could the contradiction between these memories mean? The blows wiped out the weapons. Well, there was no trace of blood, so she must have just used a different weapon. If Psyche said blood flowed down from the handle, but the katana's handle is spotless. So, does it follow that the defendant must have used a weapon other than the katana? What are you up to this time? This is it. This time, I found just the thing to end Athena's nightmare for good. The weapon that took Dr. Psyche's life was a katana. Damages for sure. So if I can show possibly that Athena didn't use a katana, then that's GG. A different weapon, you say? What weapon would that be exactly? Oh, fuck. Of course you would ask that. I can see you're floundering, right? Did you speak without thinking again, as always? How does he do that? But I can't back down now. Not here, not now. That's right, I did. Because it's so obvious it doesn't require any thought. What did you just say? Okay, so maybe that was an exaggeration, but there's gotta be something. Was there some other bladed weapon that Rob saw that day? Maybe there's something in one of the crime scene photos. Wait a minute. There is something. There's a high probability that that was in a lab. I don't have that particular weapon here in evidence right now, but I do have a piece of evidence just like it. Phoenix? Where are you going with this, buddy? The only other remote weapon is a knife.
Take that!
But that's the murder weapon in the Clay Terran case. Right. This is the knife that took Mr. Terran's life. But there must have been a knife just like this at the scene 7 years ago as well. Toolkits containing utility knives like this are issued to Space Center employees, and the robotics lab especially, would naturally have one of these around.
Objection!
But besides the katana, no other bladed weapon was found at the site. It was in the investigation report, if you didn't know.
Objection!
Of course I knew that. Yeah, once you told me just now. But here's something else you already knew. There was a toolkit at the scene, but it didn't contain any blades. Here's a photo of its contents. You're right, I don't see any kind of... Yeah, because they fucking took it! Okay, but isn't there something odd about the design of these handles? Kind of. There's like a weird design on them. Oh, look! It's supposed to say Galaxy. Right? The one on the far right is the G, the one to the far left is the A. Or Gyaxa or whatever, right? Yeah, I see it. Therefore, there was no other bladed weapon in the room.
Objection!
I disagree. This toolkit contained a knife. And what proof do you have of that? Don't tell me your eye for art is failing you too, Mr. Edgeworth. You were the last person in the world to criticize my aesthetic sense. Alright. He's simply just calling you out. Please proceed, young right? Damn straight. Notice that the handles of each of the tools have some sort of design on them. Ah, I see that they do. What significance does that have? It's clear that one of the tools is missing from this kit. If we rearrange the tools into a specific pattern, we might be able to tell which part of the overall design is missing. Is that the theory your pitiful sense of aesthetics helped me come up with? Edgeworth. Bro, just let it go, bro. Show the court then, if you would. What pattern or design were we to see if we rearranged tools? Can I show, like, the cover of the book? Okay. Did I get this right? I don't know. Okay. The Gyaxa logo, Your Honor. It's on all the Space Center's documents and pamphlets. As you're aware, Gyaxa is a program that operates the Cosmos Space Center. I really dig the stars and rockets and moons and stuff. Gyaxa, eh? There's nothing you name the Federal Space R&D program. Oh, I think I see it now, but... Yes, with just the tool shown in this photo. The red A part of the logo is missing. And this is where the murder weapon from the Terran clay tapes comes into play. If we were to place the utility knife in the open slot, it would complete the Gyaxa logo. So it would. Then that means, admit it, Edgeworth, my sixth sense is keener than yours. And while you're at it, admit that the weapon Miss Sykes used could have been this one. Gah! Everyone chill out. Everyone relax. Miss Sykes confessed to having a memory of stabbing the victim. Admittedly, Miss Sykes most likely did stab someone using the utility knife. However, we know that the weapon used to kill Dr. Sykes was a katana. Therefore, Miss Sykes couldn't have killed Dr. Sykes. Very well. Let's suppose for a minute that Miss Sykes did use the utility knife. Tell me, how the fuck does that change anything? What? What if the katana was only being used as a decoy to conceal the true murder weapon? But the autopsy report says that the katana was used to kill her. Oh fuck, or does it say that? Wait a minute. Oh. Ooh. Yeesh. Kinda goofed on that one, Phoenix. What if it was a real weapon that took the victim's life with a utility knife? Don't be ridiculous. Or are you changing the premise of your entire argument? I'm merely offering a hypothetical situation derived from your logic. Miss Sykes could have put blood on the katana to make it look like the murder weapon. Dude, she's 11. And then concealed the knife on her person until Blackwood carried her away. That does clear up the contradiction between Miss Sykes' memories and evidence. If, in fact, the murder weapon is a utility knife, then fate has dealt you a cruel hand. For you have just proven the knife's existence to the rest of us with your own logic.
Objection!
The prosecution is attempting to lead to the court.
Objection!
You were the one attempting to lead the court, right? By forcing us to forget the facts of this case. Need I remind you that there was only 2 people in the lab at the time of the murder, and that the defendant herself recalls stabbing someone with her own hands? No. It matters not whether the murder weapon was a katana or a utility knife, as long as we know the victim and the defendant were the only ones there. You cannot escape the fact that it was Athena Sykes who killed her own mother. I don't believe it. Why? Why does this keep happening? Every time I find a contradiction, it vanishes, and the suspicion keeps coming back. It's almost as if... Now you're finally starting to get it. Your contradictions keep vanishing because the charge is true, and the suspicion keeps coming back to the defendant because that's where it belongs. Phoenix writes, when will you open your eyes and accept the truth? Fuck, I haven't seen this sprite in a while. I don't want to believe it. It can't be true. Yeah. But what if... Mr. Wright, you fought a good fight. I think you've done all you can do. Is giving up really the only option? No. Snap out of it, Phoenix. What's the matter with you? Giving him the doubt. I can't look back. Forward is the only way to go. No, Your Honor, not yet. It's not over yet. Right. I can't lose sight of what's important. I believe in Athena, and I always believe in her. To the very end, a defense lawyer never gives up on his client. I've got to pick myself up and stand firm. Make that brain of yours work, dumbass. If I don't see a way, I'll just have to go back and look for one. Time to rethink this case thoroughly. I can see the fact that Athena must have stabbed someone utility knife. This must have been what Ponko witnessed as a hug. But Prosecutor Blackwell didn't see the knife at the scene. This means that someone must have removed it from the lab before he arrived. Who could take an utility knife back from the lab? Probably... It's Athena or someone else. Athena, I guess. That's the prosecution claim. Of course, Athena takes the knife with her. What kind of lawyer does some client? Well, see, that doesn't mean that doesn't mean she did it. Okay, it's also someone else. A third person was at the scene. If I trust in Athena, then I have to conclude that there was a third person at the scene. But according to Pongo's testimony, Athena and her mother were the only two there. So then how does third person manage to escape Pongo's detection? I know. This person was fooled Pongo's coming by covering their own face. Wait a minute, Pongo has a heartbeat detection system too. Even if they covered their own face, Pongo would have still detected their presence. But she wouldn't have been able to tell who they were. Wait, that's it! The culprit could have covered the face and posed as which person to avoid detection. As Simon? Let's go recover the face covered with Simon. Prosecutor Blackwell. Pongo already said she recognized the real Blackwell. Oh, I guess she didn't. Oh, yeah, huh? Sykes. You can't fake a heartbeat because robots don't have a heartbeat. If the culprit posed as a victim, that would explain Pongo thought only she and Athena were there. All they had to do was take advantage of Pongo's basic recognition features. The culprit used this in order to pose as the victim. Her jacket, right? The culprit could have posed as a victim by wearing her jacket with the ID tag on it. That still uses a heartbeat detection system. How did the culprit get around that? It wouldn't have worked if Pongo could detect the real Dr. Sykes' heartbeat too. Does that mean that the real Dr. Sykes was already dead at the time? If that's the case, then who did Athena stab? The real culprit? No. Yeah, the real culprit. Because Dr. Sykes is already dead at the time. Athena stabbed the real culprit. That's it. The person Athena stabbed wasn't Dr. Sykes. It was a person who murdered her and then pretended to be her. The real culprit. Now that Mr. Wright has finally finished thinking, let us bring this swift to a swift end. Please give us your verdict, Your Honor, so that we can move on to hostage negotiations. You're absolutely correct, Prosecutor Edgeworth. I hereby...
Objection!
Hold it right there. I didn't say I was finished. Bitch. Because I realized something so shocking, I had to take a break to digest it. But now, I know for a fact that Miss Sykes is innocent. But Pongo saw me. She witnessed the moment of the crime. Yes, Pongo did witness something. She saw the hug. In other words, the moment you used the utility knife. But the person you stabbed wasn't your mother. What are you saying, Mr. Wright? The answer is simple. The person Miss Sykes stabbed was a third person posing as Dr. Sykes. What? Objection. Do you expect us to swallow that, Mr. Wright? Pause? According to the robot's statement, there was no third person there. Did you really think that I wouldn't see through your ludicrous grab for time?
Objection!
After all we've been through, Mr. Edgeworth, I'm disappointed. Don't you know by now that this smile of mine means I have absolute confidence? Ha! You make that pose all the time, regardless of the facts. That is true. Mr. Taryn. Oh no, Mr. Taryn, you look pale. Shall I help you to the sick bay? Mr. Taryn. That's Apollo you're talking to. Oh, because the jacket has the ID tag. That was another case of mistaken identity caused by a jacket ID tag. All because Clockwork couldn't read Apollo's facial features due to his eye patch. Like Edgeworth said, a mask can nullify the robot's facial recognition. And then, all the person would have to do is wear a jacket with his ID tag to pose as her.
Objection!
Of all the ridiculous theories, what good would a silly disguise like that do? Have you forgotten that the robot also has a heartbeat detection system? If there was a third person at the scene, the robot would have detected them. No, no, no. I'm sorry, young Edgeworth, but that doesn't count for much, I'm afraid. Because by that time, Dr. Sykes' heart had already stopped beating. What? So does that mean? Uh-huh. It sure does, Your Honor. The person Miss Sykes stabbed. This third person who was posing as Dr. Sykes is her mother's real killer. But that's impossible. It's fucking leaf blower outside, dude. I swear to God. This leaf blower won't shut up. A mask? The person I stabbed was wearing a mask? Everybody, relax. Miss Sykes, did you say something? A mask? Yes. I remember. Athena? What is it? Please tell me I destroy when they're locked. I remember a man with a mask. How could he... What did he do to my mother? My head. Miss Sykes, are you alright? Nope. Black Cyclock. The breaking. No, they all just broke. No easier than I thought it'd be. Unlock successful. Okay. It's all coming back to me. Everything that happened the day my mother was murdered. They're gone. Black Cyclops are gone. You didn't really stab your mother, did you? It's alright, Athena. Just tell us what you saw that day. I was drawing a picture. When I was done, I went to show it to my mom. I opened the door, and then... Yeah. It's alright, I'm right here. You're safe. She was on the floor by the workbench with the katana sticking out of her. There was a handkerchief over her face, but I knew it was her by her clothes. And there was a man there. A man?
Hold it!
Shut up, Your Honor. Go on, Athena. He tried to attack me. In a panic, I grabbed the knife that was there, and he dodged it first. So I only got his clothes, but I tried again. And this time you got him, didn't you? I did. I remember it clearly now. The knife went into the back of his hand. Then he kicked me, and I passed out. Back of his hand, huh? When I came to, my mom wasn't moving. I had to do something. I had to fix her, I thought. So I asked Ponko to move her to the operating table. Something's wrong with Mom, so I'm taking her apart to fix her. So that's why she said that. Your Honor, as you can see, the defendant has just given us a critical new testimony. A man was there before Miss Sykes arrived. A man who covered the victim's face and put on the victim's jacket. This man is the real culprit. Miss Sykes, do you have any idea who this man was? No, I'm afraid I don't. A few moments ago, Miss Sykes mentioned the mask. Athena, can you tell us anything else about that? Yes, the mask was my mom's Japanese theater mask. I think it was the one hanging on the wall in the lab. Ah, this mask hanging here on the wall. It was kind of spooky, that mask. My mom used to tell me that a no mask even has the power to turn an ordinary human being into a phantom. A phantom? It would seem that a new suspect has emerged. And that means that all suspicions against Miss Sykes is... Oh my god. You see, this is precisely why I can't trust the court system. Athena Sykes is the murderer. I won't accept any other verdict. Miss Blackwell, this isn't good. A new suspect? Where's the proof this person ever existed? Who says it wasn't all just a dream in the little princess's groggy little head? She is right. I don't have any hard evidence of the masked man's existence.
Objection!
Thank you, right? I'll never be able to repay you for all you've done. But I'm fine now, because I can say with certainty that I didn't kill my mother. Ina, I'm glad for you. More and more memories are coming back to me now. But I'd like to say one thing if I could. Ponko came to the robotics lab about 2 p.m. to recharge. I went to the robotics lab about 2 p.m. for my regular recharge. Just as I was about to charge up, Athena came in and hugged Mommy Metis, and then Mommy Metis fell down. After that, I was recharging, so I don't know anything. See where you're going with this. If Mommy Metis was really the killer in disguise... Right. Then he must have come to the robotics lab before 2 p.m. The person who came to the lab before 2 p.m.? How the fuck would I know? The security footage?
Take that!
This is Prosecutor... sorry. Whew. This is Prosecutor Blackwell leaving the scene after the incident, at around 3 p.m. What I'm wondering is, does the video really show anyone else passing by before then? I don't see anything in the investigation report. It looks like they didn't check. Just as I thought. So if we rewind the footage and go back to around 2 p.m., we should be able to see the true culprit leaving the scene. Very well then, let's take a look. Right there. Stop it right there. said, there's a man leaving the scene of the crime. Miss Sykes, do you remember this person? That's him. I'm sure of it. He's wearing my mother's jacket. I did. But what I really wanted to see was her jacket. That jacket on display. That was Miss Sykes. Can you see it? There's a slash I made using a utility knife that day. I'm sure that knife is under the jacket somewhere. Isn't that... No, okay, no, I thought that was a knife in his hand. No, that's just... Okay. So then, everything Miss Sykes said. Uh-huh. Exactly. It proves that Miss Sykes' memory was correct. Dr. Sykes' killer arrived at the robotics lab before 2 p.m. He killed her and hit her face with a handkerchief. Then, he disguised himself with Dr. Sykes' jacket and the mask that were there in the lab. The culprit probably knew beforehand that Ponko charged up at 2 p.m. every day. So he waited for Ponko to come to the lab before her regular recharge. By leaving Dr. Sykes' jacket on, the culprit tricked Ponko into thinking he was Dr. Sykes, thereby making it look like she was alive up to that point in time. All to disguise the real time of death.
Objection!
It's a nice theory, Mr. Wright, but I'm afraid that's just not possible. What? Why not? The victim's jacket is clearly visible right there in the video. And that right there is precisely the problem. The ID tag on the jacket of the screen confirms beyond a doubt that it belonged to the victim. If the person who left the lab truly was wearing the victim's jacket, then how could it possibly have wound up back there at the scene? What's going on? That doesn't make any sense. Edge was right. The culprit was wearing the jacket. How the hell did he get back at the lab? Did the killer bring it back? The killer used the jacket as a disguise to make his escape. But in order to conceal that fact, he had to get the jacket back to the crime scene. So the culprit simply returned to the robotics lab later and planted it there. Contradiction resolved.
Objection!
Except that it would have been impossible. The only people who came to the robotics lab after the killer were Prosecutor Blackwell and the people who reported the body. And they claimed that the jacket was there when they arrived. So, when do you propose this mysterious man of yours? Fuck. A puzzling question indeed. When did the culprit have the chance to bring the jacket back? I don't... The only time the culprit could have returned the jacket was when the body was found. Mr. Wright, do you realize the implication of that argument? I sure do. Most people, when they come across a murder, focus their attention on the body. The culprit could have taken advantage of that just for a second to plant the jacket. In other words, the true culprit of this case, the man known as a Phantom, was one of the first people to discover the body. I would never have thought of that. Everyone chill out. What is the meaning of this, Edgeworth? The body was discovered and reported by a group of 3 people. They were there to conduct a space probe's client capsule in preparation for the Hat 1 launch. One of those people had a special bag to transport the capsule in. Oh, you mean the chocolate in the bag? Precisely. I suppose that if the jacket was in that bag, it could have been returned to the scene of the crime without anyone noticing. I'll see to it that you get the reports on those 3 people. You will? You should also check the face recognition database for that robot. If this person felt the need to hide his face via a mask, it might mean that his facial data was once registered. Edgeworth, does this mean... I have to admit, I believe Miss Sykes' memory to be credible. You win, right? Not that this was ever an official trial anyway. Might you to see me? Prosecutor Edgeworth? Are you actually conceding? Ah, another day, another dub. Is it true, boss? Does this mean I can't believe it. It's over. I got a dub. remove that both Athena and Prosecutor Blackwell instant. Your Honor, I see no need to further prolong this trial.
Objection!
Hold on right there, Mr. Wright. Have you forgotten who's in charge of this trial? That's right. I'm the one who's supposed to say, I see no further to prolong. Not you, dumbass. Shut up. The little princess who was truly beloved by Metis, and who repaid that love with death. All these years hating Athena was the only thing that's kept me going. But what do I do now? Can anybody tell me? How am I supposed to go on? Miss Blackwell. How unlike you, Aura. Metis was deeply passionate about her work, and she chose you as a partner. Isn't that? Shut up, Simon. You know exactly how I felt about her. Her respected co-worker wasn't all that I wanted. Well, then what did you want from her? You should really just go there, Your Honor. Aura, there is something I wanted to say, if you will lend me an ear. I have in my possession a lead on who Metis' murderer is. You do? Then why haven't you said? Young Wright, you asked me about the identity of the Phantom of 7 years past. Yeah, I did. The Phantom, the person Blackwell has been looking for, even from behind bars. 7 years ago, somebody hatched a plan to sabotage the Hat 1 rocket. The spy. But he was no ordinary spy. We knew naught about him, his background, appearance. We came to refer to him as the Phantom. At the time, I was working with the police to hunt him down. And then, one day, a miracle occurred, and I obtained a lead on him. Oh, how exciting. What was the lead? A recording of the Phantom's voice, but the quality was too poor for proper voice analysis. Yet I had hope. Aura's co-worker was a scientist who could analyze human emotion. So I asked her to evaluate the recording using analytical psychology. And that scientist was Dr. Sykes. Yes, the spy's greatest fear is to have his true identity discovered. In addition to Hat 1, Dr. Sykes' results and the recording were surely among his targets. But his research at the Space Center bore no fruit. He couldn't find them, but where could they have been? Who's to say? Oh. Didn't know that out of sight all these years. How in the world did you smuggle them into prison? Oh, I have my ways. What's more, my partner is especially talented at that sort of thing. I worked to lure the Phantom in by spreading rumors throughout the underworld. I was even granted permission to prosecute cases to attract the Phantom's attention. Just try to retrieve your identity, you bloody butcher, became my taunt. And what about the results Dr. Sykes drew of you? Were there any useful information? Here, you can see for yourself. I'll take good care of it. It's all I have left of my mentor. You got it. Better hold on to this real tight. Whoa! Psychological profile classified. Emotional output of this voice extremely weak compared to typical voices. Subject deemed to have unique psychological makeup with almost no emotional fluctuation. No emotional fluctuation. A spy who experiences no emotions. Not sadness nor anger. And naturally, no fear. He's the very definition of a phantom. A monster with no heart. Don't you see? This creature is the rot that destroyed our lives and set what ails us all into motion. The Phantom indeed. A fitting name for the one who has brought darkness to our world. Well then, since a faint image of this man has started to take shape. Based on what you have learned, I'd like all of you to conduct further investigation. This is not for a formal trial, but I do want to follow protocol. I'd like to handle my verdicts and bring the proceedings to an end. Whatever. Do what you want. You'll hear no objections from me. Yes, please, Your Honor. It's over. It's finally over. Very well. In that case, Prosecutor Blackwell, could you please take a stand? Well, he's already here. As a result of this trial, your innocence has been proven. The verdict handed down 7 years ago was hereby overturned. Now the defendant of the current trial, Miss Athena Sykes. Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Wright, thank you. Thank you for everything. Her hand was kind of going through the witness stand, but whatever. You're more than welcome, Athena. If everyone was ready, I will now give my verdict. You, it's your boy, young Apollo. This dude. Apollo? What is the meaning of this? Congratulations, Mr. Wright and Prosecutor Edgeworth. You uncovered the truth from 7 years ago, and you saved Prosecutor Blackwell. However, I can't allow this trial to end just yet. Let's do Apollo. Why, Apollo? Why would you do this to us? To be continued. Da, da, da.